In today's episode, an Evo will be rather fast, a barrel will be turbocharged, and a Ford will be in danger. Here's a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo blowing something in its engine bay. This happened because the engine was running too lean, which led to the compression going into the cooling system and simply blowing up the radiator. The new electric Mercedes G-Class, called EQG, has a feature called the G-turn. Essentially, the wheels on either side spin in different directions. This is possible because every single wheel has an independent electric motor. In other words, this thing can do a tank turn. Apparently, this Mitsubishi Evo makes about 2000 horsepower. Now, I don't know whether this is true and the footage is sped up, but you'll be the judge. Two years ago, there was an insane police chase in Finland, where a 20-year-old drug dealer tried to escape the police. Some police officers were a bit too confident with their driving skills. Luckily, they managed to catch the driver, and just like with their driving, they were very enthusiastic about catching him. Pepper spray and some broken windows included. Guess this car by the sound. No, it's not a Subaru. This is a Nissan Micra. Micra? I don't know. With unequal length headers, which give it that distinctive Subaru exhaust sound. Who do you think produces more torque? A stock Miata or this guy? Did you know that the first turn on the Monza racetrack is specifically engineered to make cars crash? Sim racers and actual drivers will understand what I mean by saying this. Here's a Maxx Formula driver messing up in the braking zone. This is probably the longest head start in drag racing history. This is a completely stock Ford Tempo getting a over 7-second head start against a Dodge Challenger drag racing car.
Green line start for Claw. Jeff Strick, Kevin Helms just ordered lunch. There he goes, watch this big little clock at half track. Here comes that Challenger. Here comes that Challenger. He's going to spin that car around, going by him down there.
There's a very dangerous type of snowstorms that happen near big lakes. For drivers, this means not only dramatic change of visibility, but also insane amounts of snow on the road in a short time. This driver's dashcam recorded this so-called lake effect snow. I personally would not like to drive a white car in this situation.
This is actually fairly dangerous. I'm gonna honk the horn a few times as I'm crossing because I don't want someone to ram into me.
Have you ever wondered how monster trucks get transported to events? I mean, there's no semi-truck in this world that could fit one. The answer is easy. The monster trucks simply get normal car-sized wheels and then get their big wheels mounted once they are delivered to the event. As it turns out, you can turbocharge anything you want, even a barrel. On a serious note, this is just simple physics at work, kind of like a jet engine with a huge combustion chamber. Have you ever heard of the ATV Jumpscare? No? Well, there you go. This is the Amphi Ranger. As the name suggests, it is an amphibious off-road vehicle built in Germany. While it's being used for stuff like pipeline maintenance, there's a very specific use case for this car that no other one can do. Because you see, the coast in Germany and some parts in the Netherlands has a pretty extreme tidal movement. Some tourists and occasionally locals get cut off from the land and need to be rescued. This is where the Amphi Ranger shines. It can travel really quickly on land when the water is still low, and even when the water rises, it simply deploys its propeller and keeps on swimming. Noises coming from the engine bay. The fix to them can be this easy. While small cars can do really well off-road, there are some certain situations where size would help. Just like with this Suzuki Jimny, where I would argue that a car with a longer wheelbase would be less likely to roll over. A short wheelbase car with a relatively high center of gravity will roll much easier. What do you think? You think that normal drag racing is too boring? I got you. What if we add a turn to the race? Not only that, let's make it off-road on a muddy track. This is the River Road Mud Racing series. From the videos that I have watched, I noticed a pattern where whoever is ahead when the two cars hit the mud wins, because the car behind gets sprayed with it and the visibility drops to zero.
Look ahead, look ahead. Over it there, found that.
What if you tune a car specifically to shoot flames as good as possible? This is a GTR owned by Chefchen, a YouTuber from Austria who really likes flames. The color of the flame is caused by a special paste that is applied on the inside of the exhaust tips. Apparently, the flame itself is not being produced artificially with a spark plug, but the car is tuned to be extremely fuel-rich. Smooth, smoother, whatever this driver just pulled off. What hurts more than blowing the engine in your cheap sports car? Blowing the engine in a Porsche. You know what hurts even more? Blowing it up in a classic 911 turbo. You know what is extremely dangerous? Hot coolant spilling from your radiator. You know what is even more dangerous? Hot coolant literally forming a cloud and raining down on people. Everyone keeps showing off until they experience something called reality check. This has yet to happen to me, but if I do something stupid on YouTube, then feel free to use this voice line. Anyways, this 800 horsepower Corvette spun out at a not very good time, considering a 18-wheeler truck just rolled by a few moments later.
Oh shit, an 18-wheeler.
Bad timing.
Apparently inspired by the Renault Clio V6, this guy built a V8-powered Renault Twingo. The Range Rover V8 makes a blistering 182 horsepower, which is slightly disappointing. On the other hand, the car weighs less than a ton. Also, not only is it manual, but also rear-wheel drive. On paper, it is a pure sports car. Since Miatas are tiny, a toy car's steering wheel will work just perfectly fine as a replacement. This guy shows how it's done. You know how some cars are perfectly balanced? What about this monster? A 400 kg cart where half of the weight comes from the engine itself. 170 horsepower in a go-kart. That's insane. To me, it's funny how some normal road cars have worse brakes than a 180-ton dump truck filled with a lot of weight. This is the wet dream of every initial D fan. A couple of Toyota AE86s going in tandems. That's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.
That doesn't make exit.